Hello, my dear friends. I'm happy to be with you on this Fifth Sunday of Lent. My name is Father Pat Brennan, and I'm a Passionist here in Detroit. There are two images that fill my heart as I look through the readings for this day on the Fifth Sunday of Lent. The first reading and the image comes from the first reading of Jeremiah, and we read about Jeremiah speaking to the people, calling out God's word, reminding them that they transgressed his covenant. God had led them out of slavery. God had given them a new commandment, called them to worship him and trust in him, and yet the people turned away. They worshiped idols. They forsake the love that God had for them. And yet the amazing message that is reinforced through Jeremiah to us this very morning is that I will create a new covenant. I will never forsake you. I will always love you. And this new covenant will be written upon our hearts, not upon stone tablets, but upon our hearts. And then the amazing words that God speaks and says, I will be your God, and you will be my people. Nothing will separate us from the love of God. You will be my people, and I will be your God. Don't we need that reminder today of that eternal and new covenant given to us? We live at a time where there's so much confusion. The bullying going on between nations, the aggression, the war, confusion even in our own land, in the highest places of authority, and in our city streets. And yet we're reminded again and again, don't lose heart, trust, I am your God, you will be my people always. And then we have the image of Jesus who's talking to his apostles and predicting that he has to go back up to Jerusalem. And his soul is troubled, he tells us. My soul is troubled and I'm fearful. Jesus knew what was awaiting him. He knew what crucifixion meant. He knew the horror of it. And not only that, he knew that those he loved very much would walk away from him. They would turn away. They wouldn't just walk away. They'd run. They'd flee. They'd deny even knowing him. And yet his heart was so troubled, but he said, I can follow through because I know that my Father is by my side. And when I am lifted up, I will draw all things to myself. When I am lifted up, and Jesus knew that he would be lifted up on that cross. He would be lifted up as a victim, mocked and ridiculed, betrayed, and yet not by the Father's love. And Jesus is telling us that we can't lose heart either. When suffering comes into our own lives, when we struggle, don't lose heart. When I am lifted up, I will draw all things to myself. I will draw all of you to myself because I am your God and you are my people. You are my beloved. So we hear these words on this feast, this Fifth Sunday, and I must mention the feast of St. Patrick as well. And St. Patrick put his trust in the Lord. He who was enslaved went back to those very people who had brutalized him, and he brought the gospel message and poured his life out for them. So we have two beautiful images, my dear friends. The image of our God, the new covenant, God who cradles us in his arms and said, I will always be there for you. I will always be your God. And the image of Jesus being raised up, being lifted up, drawing all to himself, the one who is now gloriously reigning with our Father in heaven. God bless you.